And at this time, I invite up our visiting rabbi for the high holidays, Rabbi Eytan Kenter, who I've been waiting to meet, and I'm so happy that you're finally here.
Thank you, Kenter. It is such a joy to be here together with all of you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And have this little Vorspice, this little introduction to our time together for the high holiday season. So I wanted to share a brief word of Torah this evening about something from the Torah portion, Kitabo, that we read this week. So as part of the Torah reading, we have the time where all the Israelites would go to Jerusalem, and one of the things they had to do is bring their tithe. They had to bring 10% of whatever it is that they had collected, and they had to deliver that tithe to the temple in Jerusalem. And in delivering that tithe, they then had to recite a certain series of verses, a series of lines that they would say when delivering the tithe. And among the verses that they would say is, "I have not missed doing a single commandment since the last time I was here." And the Sfat Emet, the Ger Rabbi, who was a rabbi from the 19th century, said, this cannot be possible. There's no way that this means that every person who came out delivering their tithe had not missed a single commandment over the period of time that they weren't there. And what the Ger Rabbi suggests is, instead of saying, I haven't missed any, the idea is that every mitzvah I did with intention, with thoughtfulness, with meaning when I engaged in that particular mitzvah and when I did it. And to some extent, that's why they had them recite verses as they're delivering the tithe, or just before that when they were coming with their first fruits. When they would come to the temple, you would always have to say something to say, I'm doing this on purpose, with meaning, with thoughtfulness. And that idea, while we don't go out to Jerusalem any longer to deliver our first fruits, and while we may not all contribute 10% of everything that we have to the temple, that one thing that we do continue to do is, before we do a mitzvah, we take a moment to reflect and say, I'm doing this with intention, I'm doing this with purpose, which is why we say a bracha, we say a blessing when we're engaging in those practices. We don't just do it, we take a moment before we do it to be able to say, I'm doing this with purpose, with thoughtfulness, and with meaning in engaging in this particular moment. And there's one of those mitzvot which is interesting, because usually what we do, as the story goes, is that we say the thing and then we do the action, right? We say hamotzi, then we eat the bread. We say the blessing over the Hanukkah candles, and then we light the candles. There is one exception to that, which is the lighting of the Shabbat candles, right? The Shabbat candles, we do the other way. We light the candles, and then we say the blessing, which is counterintuitive, but also necessary. Why is it necessary? Because once I say the blessing, I can't light the candles. So what became the practice that developed over time? To be able to do that is, what do? We cover our eyes so that we open them after that and say, oh my goodness, they were lit already. I can't even do it anymore.
It's a miracle.
Look at that. What a miracle that this has taken place. And so as we engage in these mitzvot, as we engage in these moments, as we even enter into the high holidays and reflect on the fact that we're not going to be able to say that I've done every single mitzvah that I possibly could have done this year, let's commit to be able to say that as we engage in those things in our lives, as we take those moments of meaning and purpose, that we take the opportunity to make sure that we do so thoughtfully, that we do so deliberately, and that they find ways to enrich our lives. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.